Welcome to Mind Prosperity, and today we're going to speak about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is one of the key topics that I'm passionate about. But today we're going to look at specifically a book that really influenced my life by Daniel Goleman. This is actually two books in one, so you can see it's quite thick. This is Emotional Intelligence and How to Work with Emotional Intelligence. And there's a part in this book, well, many parts in this book that inspired me, but one part that inspired me I'm going to share with you today, and this is why emotional intelligence has such a big impact on success. And then we're also going to speak about some misconceptions about emotional intelligence. Now, for years people thought that intellectual intelligence is what is important for you or for a person to be successful, but later they've determined that intellectual intelligence or IQ is not the main determining factor of success, but EQ, emotional intelligence, is the key determining factor of success. And this is why, you get people who get amazing grades at school, they get amazing grades in university, and they don't perform as well in life. And then you get people who maybe doesn't have such a great education or didn't do as well in school and in university, and they succeed in life. Now, this is not saying that intellectual intelligence is not important. I do believe it's important to do well at school. I do believe if you have the opportunity to go to university and to get good grades, it's a great opportunity, and it definitely does help you in life. So I'm not saying that's not important. What I am saying is that emotional intelligence is a more important determining factor of success. And what they've realized, and this is something that Goleman speaks a lot about in this book, is that it's not just this idea of your training, your intellect, your schooling, your expertise, how you performed. That's the best determining factor of success. But emotional intelligence, how you handle yourself and how you handle others. So emotional intelligence starts with intrapersonal intelligence, which is understanding yourself, knowing your own emotions, knowing how to manage it, and then understanding others and the relationship you have with other people. So we see this combination of the relationship you have with yourself, understanding yourself, and the relationship that you have with other people. So emotional intelligence ultimately, and a high emotional intelligence will determine who goes forward, who becomes successful, and then ultimately who gets left behind. But the amazing thing about emotional intelligence, it's something that can be built and something that can increase. So some qualities in emotional intelligence that plays a big role in success. The first one is empathy. Empathy means putting yourself in the skin of another person. It doesn't necessarily just mean, you feel sorry for another person when they're going through a bad time, but it means that, you feel as that person, and you feel so much as that person that you can encourage that person, you pick that person up and you help that person. It also means when somebody else succeeds in life, when it goes well with somebody, you feel as that person and you're excited as that person. This is why things like envy, strife, and jealousy is in contradiction to emotional intelligence, because if you are a person of empathy, you will not go into jealousy and strife and unhealthy competitiveness. You'll get to the place where you are really excited and happy for other people when they do good. When other people go through something bad, you are ready to pick them up. This is why I always say empathy creates unity, because empathy creates oneness. And then adaptability. Many things will happen in our lives that we didn't plan, that we didn't know was going to happen, or happened differently than what we expected. And this is why we have to be able to adapt. This doesn't mean you have to change your vision. This doesn't mean you have to change your goal in life, but it does mean the road to it. And exactly how everything is going to happen and exactly how everything is going to unfold will not happen exactly the way you thought it would happen. This is why adaptability is a very important thing. And then persuasiveness. Persuasiveness is an extremely important key when it comes to emotional intelligence. And there's something Ed Milet said that I wanna bring in here that I think is a very important part of persuasiveness. And he said, you do not need to try to persuade people. You just need to show them how persuaded you are. Now, a lot of times people try to persuade other people, and they are not persuaded in themselves, and people can see through that. People can kind of like see this fakeness that you kind of like just trying to sell me something, but you don't believe in the product yourself. But if you can persuade yourself, if you I'm persuaded in this thing. I remember a friend of mine once bought an album from a rock band that I really like. And she phoned me and she's like, I bought the CD, but you said it's so good. But it's not really my taste. So I said to her, well, why did you buy the album? Because I never told her to buy the album. I just told her that I like it so much. And she was like, but you were going on and on and on about how great this music is that I went out and I bought it. This was at the time where CDs was still a thing. So she literally she never heard the music in her life. She just walked into a shop, bought the CD, and then listened to it because I never tried to persuade her, but I was so persuaded myself. So somebody who's persuasive, their aim is not just to try to persuade other people, but in themselves they are extremely persuaded. So this is a different way. Emotional intelligence is a different way of being smart. So if you say somebody is smart, a person will immediately think they are mathematically smart, or they are scientifically smart, and they are very intellectual. But emotional intelligence is a different way to literally be a genius, meaning you can have very average marks maybe at school, or maybe you even dropped out of school, and you can be a genius. You can be extremely intelligent in a certain area of your life. And if that area is emotional intelligence, research shows us that the chances of you thriving is very high. So Howard Gardner had the multiple intelligence theory, and he said there are different areas. He spoke about 8 different areas of intelligence. And this is what Gardner said. He said, it's not how smart you are that matters. What really counts is how you are smart. So every single person is intellectual. Every single person is a genius in a certain area. And when I mean intellectual, I literally mean smart in a certain area. So you may not be the best mathematician, but you can be extremely good in music. Maybe you didn't get the best grades at school, but you can be extremely good with people. Or maybe you're not the best musician. Maybe you're not the bestest, but you did do extremely well at school. You are mathematically very intelligent, and that is your area of intelligence. If you know, and this is where self-awareness comes in, if you know where your sweet spot is, how to work with it, and you are comfortable with it. Being comfortable with who you are is one of the key areas here. So it's not about how smart you are, but how you are smart. If you find out how you are smart, where your sweet spot is, then you can do great. Daniel Goleman said IQ takes second position to emotional intelligence in determining outstanding job performance. So emotional intelligence is a key determining factor when it comes to success. Now I'm going to give you guys 3 misconceptions, also according to Daniel Goleman, on emotional intelligence. Before I get there, I want to ask you to like this video, to subscribe, leave us a comment. We're trusting to get to 1,000 subscribers, and your subscription and you sharing the video can help us to get there. Okay, 3 misconceptions about emotional intelligence. Number 1, emotional intelligence does not mean being nice. So it's not like I'm nice with everybody and now I'm emotionally intelligent. That can maybe just mean you're a people pleaser or you're codependent. Because in certain areas and certain aspects of life, there will be conflict, there will be disagreement. Sometimes you have to sit somebody down and correct them. And this happens in the workplace, especially if you're a leader or so. You have to correct people. You have to sometimes tell people the harsh truth. So emotional intelligence doesn't mean I'm always nice. It does mean I understand my emotion and I know how to deal with it. Even if I feel fear, even if I feel anger, even if I feel disappointment, I know what I'm feeling, I know why I'm feeling it, and I know how to manage it, I know how to master it, and I know how to handle it. So emotional intelligence is not just about being nice. And this doesn't mean you are nice all the time, but you know how to work with the emotions that you feel, and you know how to evaluate those emotions. The second one, emotional intelligence does not mean giving free rein to feelings or letting it all go and hang out. So it doesn't mean, you are overly emotional. You cry all the time, or you yell all the time, or you laugh all the time, and you just show every single one of your emotions. Again, it does mean that you understand the emotion and you know how to display it. So Daniel Goleman said, ultimately we have 2 minds. We have a thinking mind and we have a feeling mind. And we have to have synchronicity between the thinking and the feeling mind. So if you very much focused on your thinking or your logical mind, but you hide your emotions, you're not emotionally intelligent. Where you're overly focused on your emotional side, and you let all your emotions hang out, and you're not logical about anything, that is not emotional intelligence. But emotional intelligence is kind of like getting that synchronicity and the combination between the two, where you can manage and feel and master your emotions in a logical way. So it's getting that synchronicity. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen 50-50 in every single situation. Some situations will require you to be more intellectual and logical. Other situations will require you to be more emotional, and that's fine. But you still know how to balance it, and you still know how to manage it. And the final one, emotional intelligence is not fixed genetically. So it's not something that you're just born with and you cannot grow it. Emotional intelligence is something that you can grow. Emotional intelligence is something that you can better, and you can better it and you can grow it for the rest of your life. Well, this is all we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, we're going to speak about the difference in gender, men and women, when it comes to emotional intelligence. So don't miss out. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon again.